Hey guys, this is Courtney, and today I wanted to give an announcement that I am going to be rebranding my channel name and my whole brand, website, all of that to Cosmic Clarity Astrology. So make sure that you guys go ahead and write that down, save that information in case you ever do search for my channel and can't find it no longer under this name. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the Jupiter Uranus Conjunction, and that's happening on April 20th in the sign of Taurus at 21 degrees. This is a rare transit that happens around roughly every 14 years, and it is one of the most significant events that's happening in 2024 that astrologers are looking forward to. This is really exciting because both Jupiter and Uranus can have positive energies. Jupiter especially. Uranus is a little bit of a wild card. So when they come together, these slow planets that really do affect kind of the way our society functions, when they finally come together and unite, they almost have a little rendezvous and give us the potential to have some kind of breakthrough or timeline jump essentially in this lifetime. So I see this almost as like a quantum leap, a breakthrough, a time of hope and prosperity and progress and reinvention or simply invention into something new. And so this is a really exciting time. And we're going to go over what this is going to look like for all of the rising signs. What I'm getting or what I'm going to be predicting for you guys is what you're going to be blessed with or what the breakthrough is going to be for you happening in April. It's very likely that we're already starting to kind of feel some of these energies shifting and these storylines lining up so that throughout the month of April, this energy becomes more obvious, more potent. And you might see something significant happen in the month of April, especially if you have any angles, most likely the angular houses. So like the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th house cusps around 21 degrees. Or if you have especially Taurus 21 degrees, which is where this is happening, or the fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you're going to feel this really significantly. And then you'll also still feel it if you have that also. Planets also around 21 degrees of earth or water signs. So those are who it's going to be really impacting the most. If it's not hitting anything in your chart at all, then maybe you won't really get a huge jolt or a huge breakthrough. Maybe you're doing just fine, or maybe it's just not your time for that. And then others are going to notice a really significant shift. But as a society, as a whole, we can start to see things progress, but it's usually something that we can most clearly see retroactively. So once we've kind of passed this point in time, years later, we can look back and see, oh, that is a turning point for us. That was marking this time in history, or there was some sort of advancement that was heralding a new chapter into our lives as a collective or even in our personal lives. So it's a really, really exciting time. Jupiter is the great benefic. It's the bringer of blessings and children and abundance, and it's a very social planet as well. So it has sorry, I just saw my cat walk outside. So it has a lot of potential to bring in new relationships and connections and opportunities. And then Uranus is a planet of innovation, of progress, a little bit of rebellion as well, change, surprise, technology. And both of them tend to bring a lot of clarity, a lot of wisdom, and the potential for great healing. So I'm excited to see how this can impact us on a more personal scale. But before we do that or talk about each sign, we're going to jump into first discussing what this has looked like in the past, and then maybe get like a really quick overview of what this could look like for the collective. So the last time Jupiter and Uranus came together was in January 2001, really early in January. So it's really something that you would have felt in December and the first week of January. So these planets came together in the sign of Pisces. And during this period of time, we had SpaceX become the first privately owned company to launch, orbit, and recover a spacecraft. So this is extremely Uranian, and obviously Jupiter is also about things progressing and moving forward, more so from a place of personal growth, societal growth, internal expansion as well as spiritual expansion. But and also Jupiter has a very strong link with things that are foreign. So bringing various elements together, and Uranus also has this type of quality where we are kind of bridging different types of maybe technologies or fields and kind of melding them together and creating something new and unique. And so we can see a lot of unique advancements through the coming together of these two planets. So we could see here that obviously this had a lot to deal with things progressing in terms of leaving this world, which I love that because it feels very kind of Aquarian and Pisces in nature, that there's a technological advancement that quite literally has us leave Earth, which I think is super cool. Also during this Jupiter Uranus conjunction in 2011, we had Obama repeal a policy that banned people who are gay from openly saying they were gay or joining the military under that pretense or something of that nature. So I'm probably not wording that correctly, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. So obviously this is very much a Piscean theme and also Aquarius. We can really see the blend of the two because Uranus is there, but we can really see how people who were previously considered underdogs are getting some kind of breakthrough. And that's common with Jupiter and Uranus. We can see reversals of roles and fortunes. So people, especially who were winning and who had the upper hand, but who were not good or it was outdated or it was wrong, we can see those things start to have a little bit of a shift happen with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. And I think that's really even more emphasized because Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the people, we are really in an age or an era where the emphasis is on the collective and the individual, the layperson, and not the governmental forces. And so it's a time of empowering each person and fighting for our own unique rights. And so we can start to see how maybe some power can shift into the hands of the people, especially healers, because Jupiter and Uranus together are both very spiritual planets. And so not only are we more adept at healing things that we might be stuck in terms of cyclical patterns and things that have been just feeling like we cannot get out of them. Uranus and Jupiter together can really, again, jump this timeline. It can get us out of some cycle of suffering. It can help us see things from a higher perspective, give us solutions to existing problems. It can give us this higher level awareness that our human brain doesn't have access to on an ordinary level or on an ordinary day. So it's really an opportunity for us to open up to extra senses. We might feel quite literally more sensitive during this time, and the information that comes to us should really be noted because it is significant for the path forward. The previous time that Jupiter and Uranus came together in the same sign as Taurus was in May of 1941, and during this period of time was kind of in the middle of World War II. Nazi Germany was at its height. There was a lot going on in terms of violence and oppression. And during this period of time, May in particular, the British, I don't know what you would call them, government, elected Winston Churchill. And he became the person who a few years later finally led to the demise of the war and of the Axis powers and Nazi Germany in 1945. So basically, the person who helped reverse the roles of power at that period of time, who helped end the war that was obviously horrible, and I think you can again see here how like the good wins. So it's like the evil was winning at that time, but when Winston was elected, when things basically set into motion for there to be a reversal of power, was the same time Jupiter and Uranus came together. So I think that's very fascinating how these things happen. And so I think that also really goes to show that whatever happens this month is not necessarily going to be an immediate resolution of something. We can feel like we have a breakthrough. We can have this really important piece click into place. But again, we often won't see how that is so significant until we look back on this period of time retroactively and we can see, okay, yeah, that was the moment in time where I made this different choice or I had this new perspective that once I followed that path led me to a completely different reality. That timeline jump, that reversal of roles, that reversal of fortune, and enhanced my life to a really significant degree or made a really noticeable difference in my life where a chapter was almost turned, but in a positive way, a resolution of something in a positive way. So it's really important right now not to put too much pressure on this period of time of seeing these amazing blessings and results, because those could take time to unfold, but those really important characters or pieces of the puzzle will click in together during this period of time when the Jupiter and Uranus come together in our chart. One other thing I think is important to note is that sometimes we also can't fully understand how significant this is for ourselves, but even more so from other people looking at our own lives. So we might, let me give you an example. So also when Jupiter and Uranus came together in Taurus, during this period of time in May 1941, the world's first programmable automatic computer was invented, which obviously sets the stage for this huge technological boom that we have had later, even more so now with Pluto and Aquarius. I think that's something that we can really get a sense of in this period of time in April. There's probably going to be some technological advancements, maybe with AI or something else, where that sets the precedent for something much bigger later down the line. But there's going to be people who don't get it when it first comes out. Like when that computer first arrived, maybe there are people who didn't understand the purpose. This was 1941. This is a long time ago. So I don't know what level of technology people were aware of at that time, or what they thought it would be used for, if they even knew it existed. So there's a lot that I feel like could be shifting for us, even as a collective, but in our personal lives as well, where things that we have this guided intuition to do or to follow, it's so outside of the box, it's so progressive, it's so ahead of its time that it's more likely to not be well received or to be misunderstood or even just kind of downplayed before it reaches its full pinnacle of success. And then people years from now will see how significant that thing really was. And I think that we can see that also with the example of Winston Churchill. He was elected during that period of time, or he was, moved into office or voted for at that period of time when that conjunction took place. But I don't know if anyone really knew that he was going to be kind of that big turning point in the war, for example, or that really significant player in the ending of a massive cycle of despair and destruction. So we can see how these things set into place now, but aren't always fully understood. So just really keep that in mind. So during these Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions, we can typically expect to have some kind of idea come through for us that we can bring to fruition. And that means that, again, the idea doesn't mean that the whole thing is completed. The results are not always here right away, although sometimes they will be. If you've been having an existing problem, you can come up with really powerful solutions to that problem, and you can have, again, some kind of turning point, especially in concerns with Taurus themed topics. So we're going to talk about that for each sign, because it's going to depend on what house you have Taurus in, the kind of problems or breakthrough or gift or blessing you could have as a result of these downloads or changes that you make in your life. But also, just talking about Taurus themes in general, this is very much related to the material world. This is related to our financial security, the kind of food that we eat, the cattle that we have on this earth, the nature itself, our clothes, our sense of security, our sense of stability, our sense of independence as well, being able to truly be autonomous in every sense of the word, our sense of worth and value and the feeling of what we bring to the table, and our own kind of inner resolution to be consistent or work hard or see things through and have positive results with things. So all of those are very Taurus topics. And so we can see that these this Jupiter Uranus conjunction can have some kind of breakthrough or shift concerning the material world or concerning those things that I just mentioned. One of the things that I think is really important with something like this is that we need to be aware of how impulsive an energy like this can be. So there are lots of benefits to this. This is a time of blessings, of breakthrough, of radical shifts that can really enhance our lives. But also sometimes what happens with the exuberance of Jupiter and the progressive, rebellious nature of Uranus, when they come together, they can sometimes not really see how they have maybe blind faith and optimism in the value of change and revolution, because that can be helpful, yes, of course, but also there can be an element of throwing everything out, the baby out with the bathwater, when there are things that are actually functioning and maybe just need revision, when there's wisdom from the past that we need to carry forward, but instead they're just rooting for what is new and progressive. So we really need to keep our heads kind of balanced and look at things through an unbiased perspective while still having faith and optimism. So can we look at the facts? Can we look at the data while still believing that there is a higher possibility and potential, but not getting so blinded by our faith that we refuse to acknowledge, real issues, or refuse to look at the entire equation and be truthful and honest with ourselves and others. Another aspect of this is that we can sometimes get a little bit overzealous and overcommit ourselves. We can scatter ourselves. We can not really have a necessary focus on this energy, which is interesting because it is in Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, which tends to be very focused, very kind of committed to a particular vision or habit or way of being, so much so that they can almost have trouble, being too stagnant, or not stagnant necessarily, but like unwilling to change when it's required, unwilling to adapt. So this energy helps shake that up. It helps us adapt. But also, I think that this balance could be helpful because it could help maybe kind of focus these two planets. But that is a little bit of a risk where we might kind of scatter our focus, energy, attention, our money, our resources, and we could come to later regret that. So just being aware that change comes at a cost. Saying yes to something means saying no to something. Looking at the entire picture of things and being willing to listen to yourself with logic. So I think that's super, super important. I think this also has a very creative and imaginative energy, which is something I really love because it helps us tap into our higher mind, our higher consciousness, our higher self, so that we can reinvent or reset or renew something in our life. So this could look like revamping something old or starting something new, but that still reinvigorates us. So there's this energy of something coming back to life, especially in the house that this conjunction is happening in for you. So I think that's all I want to say about the general energy of this conjunction. Let's go ahead and jump into what this is going to look like for all the rising signs. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to comment and like this video, share with your friends so that we can get my channel out there. And I appreciate you guys so much. All right, up next we have Taurus rising and sun for this next, for this Jupiter Uranus conjunction that's happening in your sign on April 20th. We're talking about what you are manifesting during this period of time. I got the 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and 9 of Pentacles for you. This is happening in your first house, so this is a really big deal for you guys because anything in your first house, especially a rare transit like this, does indicate that a new chapter for you guys is beginning, especially in the area of your life, your identity, how you see yourself, what you understand about yourself. This can really affect any major area of life because you're starting to almost like add on another facet to yourself. And that's really what I see with this 2 of Pentacles. This feels like an addition, something coming into your life, something that you're going to have to juggle with your existing priorities. And it does seem like it's going to be on some level related to financial independence, as well as just maybe general independence with the 9 of Pentacles. But with the 8 of Wands and 9 of Pentacles, I feel like you guys are going to be very busy. I think you're going to have, honestly, a lot coming in for you that is that feels really exciting. With this 8 of Wands, it almost feels like you might have a lot of new friends. You might have new travels. You might be starting new projects. You might be making more money and try new avenues of projects or hobbies or ways of making money. So it feels like you guys are having a very blessed life, feeling extremely secure, again, financially, but also in terms of your own independence and your self-worth. If independence has been something you struggled with in the past, and taking care of yourself versus taking care of others, or having that nice balance, I really see that evening out for you guys, and not having to struggle with that so much. It's like you really learn what it is that you need to do for you, and you don't let the duty towards others kind of get in the way of that. This seems like a time of really up leveling and expanding your life in general. So the things that have felt like really limiting for you, if you've been stuck in a dead end job, if you've been stuck in a relationship that isn't moving forward, the things that have felt stagnant in your life that especially could affect you in terms of the way that you see yourself, and the way that it could affect your health or your body and your confidence, your self-concept, all those things. Those things are going to shift, and they're going to get out of stagnancy, and things are going to move way, way faster to a more stable place, which is interesting because it feels like it's not chaotic, but it feels like just extremely busy, but also very stabilizing at the same time. So it's almost like you guys are able to have this nice balance of things changing, but also growing and becoming very strong and substantial. So the areas of your life that you want to grow, I see them growing. The areas that are quite stagnant, I see those either falling away or changing to become aligned with the energy and the momentum of, again, growth and speed, which I really see quite strong for you guys right now. What else are my Taurus manifesting? That's way too many cards, but I did see the rebirth on top of that, which I think is super cool because, again, this is such a big time to kind of renew our sense of self. If some of you guys have any health issues in particular, because the first house is the house of the body, if you have any health issues, I could really see those kind of being healed for you guys in some kind of way, or really reset in a profound way. Okay, so I got wisdom and knowledge. So some of you guys might decide to also learn something new or pursue something new that eventually is going to lead you to some kind of financial abundance. So Jupiter is very much a planet associated with higher learning, going back to school or traveling. Learning doesn't have to be in the traditional sense, especially with Uranus here. You could decide to self-teach. You could decide to read things in books, which is maybe a little bit more traditional still, but there's other ways to learn through experience, through travel, through speaking to other people. There's ways that we can grow as individuals and understand more about the world, more than just sitting in a classroom. And so I'm definitely seeing that you guys are going to embark on some kind of new journey that is going to help you discover more about yourself in particular. And I feel like also that self-discovery will eventually help stabilize you and make you more money. So it could build up, again, your sense of independence and self-worth. It could help you really see what your talents and abilities are. It could help you if you felt like you have been like unstable in terms of your desires. If you felt like really scattered, I could see that grounding you into a knowledge of yourself and knowing this is what I want and this is where I'm going, like a focus. But I could also see if you have the opposite quality, which is typical for Taurus, where you may have a little bit of a hard time with change and you can get a little bit redundant with your routines. I could also see you guys gaining some kind of wisdom or knowledge of something that can help you shake up your life in a way where you're able to up level or advance and have new routines and new habits that are actually more constructive and that help, again, build you up more towards that next level. So maybe you for example, if you're working super hard, this Jupiter Uranus conjunction can help you maybe work smarter, not harder, so you have more time, but yet make more money. And so it creates this change in lifestyle. That's really what I'm seeing here. It's like you're learning more about something or about yourself or both that helps you change your self-perception and lifestyle so that you're able to create more abundance and more of a balance between these things that interest you. I think you might, again, be adding also things that interest you. And you won't be able to do that if you don't have the ability to work smarter, not harder, if that makes sense. So it's like you're creating spaciousness, but also from the static energy in your current life or the stagnant energy, you're creating spaciousness by shifting the way that you do those. And then as a result of that spaciousness, now you're able to learn more stuff or do more stuff that then helps you expand even more and understand yourself even more and take in more abundance and stability. I also pulled the a year from now cards. So I really feel like this is going to kick in a year from now. So you might get some wisdom around, okay, this is what I want to study, or this is what I want to do. But it's almost like you're not going to get the full benefits of this or really see the full picture of this until a year from now. So really be patient with yourself in this process. Really enjoy it because it's one of the best times of your life. Honestly, the super rare conjunction is really, really beautiful, especially if you have your sun or rising around 21 degrees of Taurus. It's very impactful for you. So enjoy the whole process because this is going to be really special a year from now. I think you're going to look back and be like, wow, that was a time where I just manifested everything I wanted, or I was going through the initial stages of what is going to lead me to everything that I want, and I didn't even know it at that time. So definitely appreciate, again, where you are in the present moment. Enjoy the information that's coming to you, and I can't wait for you guys. Don't forget, I am changing my brand name to Cosmic Clarity Astrology, so be on the lookout for that new channel name. If you haven't subscribed to my email so that you don't miss a reading from me or a video from me, you can do that down below, and I hope you guys have a great one. Bye.